Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze Oleksandr Zinchenko's strengths and weaknesses to determine whether he's a good fit for Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. So in today's video, first we're going to analyze Zinchenko's role at Man City, then we'll focus on his strengths and weaknesses, and lastly we'll analyze how he could fit in under Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, first we'll focus on how Man City lined up last season, which was more of a 4-3-3, and here you have Zinchenko playing at left back. He often played at left back for Man City, but due to the several shifts that they could make in terms of how they want to attack, we saw various shapes develop within that 4-3-3. You know of the 3-2-5 that often was formed with the shuttlers pushing into advanced areas, and then you would have Zinchenko tucking into a central area, and that would end up seeing the right back drop into more of a center back role, which was often contained by Walker or one of Stones and Ake, and that would allow Zinchenko to tuck in towards those central areas, and from there that allows Grealish to hug the touchline, and at times we did see Raheem Sterling or Phil operate in that left-hand zone. If they didn't want to operate in the 3-2-5, you'd see them shift into more of a 3-1-6, and that would allow another attacking player in the fullback to push forward to provide the width, while Grealish could tuck into central areas and Raheem Sterling could do the same. If it wasn't a 3-1-6, then it would be a 4-1-5, and that's where you would see the fullback stay deeper and narrow, and then you would get the width from the wide players hugging the touchline. And the last shape that we didn't analyze in the Raheem Sterling video that we did break down recently was that they did shift into more of a 2-3-5 at times, where they had the fullbacks tucking in towards the half spaces within close proximity of Rodri, and then that would allow the wide players to hug the touchline, where they would have support from Zinchenko and Cancelo in those half spaces, but they could also get creativity from those players, as from those narrow positions they could use their passing range to find their teammates. So as you could see, when you focus on Arsenal, we did see them playing more of a 3-2-5 or a 4-1-5 last season, but if they have Zinchenko, then they are also capable of playing in these roles as well, along with the fact that they did add new players to their squad. For instance, you can see them playing that 2-3-5 with Zinchenko tucking in with, let's say, Tomiyasu, or you could even see a Ben White tucking in towards that zone as well. In that scenario, you could have Martinelli and Saka hugging the touchline, and then pushing the two shuttlers in towards those central areas between the lines to help out Gabriel Jesus up front. And then if Arsenal want to play in a 4-1-5, they could have Zinchenko and Tomiyasu in that narrow zone, and then that would allow them to have wide players hugging the touchline. And even if Mikel Arteta wanted to be a bit more adventurous and play a 3-1-6, then he can use Zinchenko out in that left channel role, and then have the wide player tucking in. And if they wanted to stick with Martinelli hugging the touchline on that left-hand side, Zinchenko showed the capability of getting into advanced positions in those narrow half spaces and making underlapping runs to combine with the wide player. Because when you analyze the Ukraine national team, the role that Zinchenko plays in is similar to Granit Xhaka, and he's already familiar in what Mikel Arteta would want from him. For instance, when you see Arsenal playing in a 3-2-5, Zinchenko could play in that left shuttler role, and from there he could drop in towards the left half space to allow Kieran Tierney to push forward to provide the width. He's willing to drop off into pockets of space in that narrow half space to get on the ball to allow the fullback forward, and he's also willing to get himself forward into those pockets of space between the wide player and the central midfielder to receive the ball between the lines to progress play. In that same breath, he's also willing to occupy spaces near the touchline as well if they want the fullback to adopt narrow positions like we saw from Nuno Tavares. Or in that scenario, you could still see Tierney hugging the touchline in an advanced area, while the left player could drift centrally to occupy that space that we witnessed with Smith Rowe, and at times Martinelli can shift into that zone as well. But in many cases, if Zinchenko does operate in that left central midfield role, he doesn't affect the balance that Arsenal have developed over the past 12 to 18 months. Because what you end up witnessing from Zinchenko is, like I said, he provides the balance and protection in that left shuttler role if he drops off deeper. But when he pushes into advanced positions, he's capable of receiving the ball between the lines, retaining possession, and helping progress the play with his passing. Here you see Zinchenko drifting laterally between the lines to receive the ball, and you can see that pressure is being applied from behind. What he does well here is that he anticipates that pressure, he holds it off, and it allows him the time and space to turn away from that challenge. From here, he could split the two opposing midfielders to play in his teammate towards his left, but he cuts the ball back onto his left foot and he turns towards his right where he sees two available options ahead of him. That results in Zinchenko sliding the ball towards his overlapping right back to place him in an advanced position. Or he could pick up the ball in deeper zones, carry it forward, evade challenges, and then look to place his teammates in legitimate goal scoring positions. If we look to another example, it's Zinchenko in a deeper inside left position on the ball, and he has two players that are dragged out towards him. What he does here is that he fakes that he's going to play the pass and he cuts the ball across the first challenge, and now you can see when the help pressure is applied, that midfielder's flat-footed, and so is the next midfielder that's looking to step forward to challenge Zinchenko. He easily evades that pressure, and now he could slide the ball in towards one of his attacking players that were blocked off, that's breaking in between the opposing side's defense. Unfortunately, the only issue that Zinchenko makes here is that he plays the pass beyond the forward, and that results in him having to take a first touch, and by the time he gets the ball settled within his feet, he ends up firing an effort wide of the net. If you look to another example, it's Zinchenko in the halfway circle as a left back for Man City, and you can see that he attracts Bowen towards him, and he instantly drops his shoulder and he catches the attacking player flat-footed, and he's able to carry the ball beyond him. You can see that he has no passing options available that are free, so when De Bruyne's movement drags away Declan Rice, that's where you see Zinchenko carrying the ball beyond Bowen and Rice in towards the final third, and from here he can only slide the ball out to Gabriel Jesus or a wide player in the right channel. And when he plays the ball into Jesus, he places him in a legitimate goal scoring position, but Jesus looks to cut the ball on towards his left foot in traffic, and from a tight angle, rather than playing the ball into the path of Zinchenko for a first time effort, he fires a powerful effort inches wide of the net. The other key factor to signing Zinchenko for Mikel Arteta was that he doesn't have to solely use him as a left back. For the national team, he does operate in a left central midfield role in a midfield trio, and from there it ensures that perhaps Arsenal may not need to sign a left shuttler to help them progress their play in the middle third and their own third. One of the key traits that Zinchenko does possess is his off-ball movement. When he looks to get on the ball, he's willing to run off his markers to get into space, and from there he can receive the ball in gaps where he can create for himself, or he could create for others, or simply progress Arsenal's attack when he gets into those zones. In this example, you witness a 2v2 being created in that midfield zone, and focus on Zinchenko's movement. His marker isn't tracking his movement and he's watching the ball, and that's where you see Zinchenko anticipating that and making a forward run off his marker in towards the halfway line, and that will allow Zinchenko to carry the ball into the opposing side's third to create a transitional attack. Here he has options ahead of him centrally or towards the left, but he looks to cut back on towards his left foot to evade the challenge from behind, and he squares the ball in towards his teammate to help progress the play. In that same game, focus on Zinchenko in a pocket of space between the midfield bank, and when his teammate receives the ball, he's looking to make a run off his marker and the player is running towards the ball to break in towards the left channel. However, the pass is played in towards the wide attacking player, but Zinchenko drifts laterally and follows that movement, and because no one picks up his off-ball run, it creates a 2v1 against the opposing side's wingback, and that's where they're able to combine to break in towards the left channel, and that's how Zinchenko's off-ball movement progresses the play and allows his teammate to get into a legitimate area to create. And while he doesn't offer much of a goal threat when he does get into the final third, he's capable of making late runs into dangerous areas to serve as a creator or test the goalkeeper. Here you can see De Bruyne looking to build the attack from the opposing side's third, and focus on Zinchenko's movement. He runs off his marker as De Bruyne plays the ball back in towards Rodri, and you can see that De Bruyne takes 3 players with him. And as that play develops, when the ball falls into the path of Gundogan, he's now able to create a 2v1 due to no one tracking the movement of Zinchenko. And that places Man City in a legitimate goal scoring position as there's two runners breaking freely towards the back post. And if he's not making those late runs from those deeper areas, his passing enables him to create chances for his teammates from various areas across the pitch. So for Arsenal, if he played in that role, yes, he could help them in the final third, but for the most part, he'd be more of an asset in his own third where he's capable of getting on the ball, evading challenges, and for the most part, dealing with the press well. Here you have Zinchenko checking in towards the ball in his own half and pressure is being instantly applied. He anticipates and then plays a first-time pass in towards his teammate, and that results in a first-time pass being played towards the halfway circle, but focus on Zinchenko's movement. Three players are taken out of the game, but Zinchenko instantly sprints forward towards the halfway circle to receive the layoff from the center forward, and from there Zinchenko's looking to play a first-time ball towards the left channel for his teammate to progress the play in towards the opposing side's half, and that ultimately progresses the play. Once again, you witness Zinchenko dropping in towards his own third to receive the ball from his teammate, and this time, however, the pressure doesn't come tight and it allows Zinchenko to check his shoulder, and from there he anticipates the pressure and instantly spins on the half turn towards his left. By doing that, he drags the marker towards him and it creates space for him to carry the ball forward, square it towards his teammate to help progress the play. But there have been situations where the opposing side does get tight on him quickly, and that is an area that he'll need to improve to prevent Arsenal from dealing with threats in and around their penalty area. Here you see Grealish and Zinchenko swapping positions with Zinchenko in a narrow half space, and from there Grealish could split two opposing players to find Zinchenko in that midfield zone. When Zinchenko receives the ball, he's unaware of the opposing midfielder looking to apply pressure instantly from behind. The challenge is made, and that results in Zinchenko being dispossessed, and from there he falls to the ground and it results in a elite transitional attack. But outside of that, he's capable of linking play with his teammates, helping progress the play through the press, and dropping into his own zone with relative comfort to serve as a passing outlet as his team looks to bypass the opposing side's pressure. Whereas from the left back role, he serves as a reliable passer. You often see him from that zone looking to play first time balls or simply looking to find the center forward with a pass in towards the final third. But more importantly, he's capable of using the traits that he does possess in that midfield zone and applying them from left back as an advanced player to help his side have an additional attacker, but also ensure that there's always a threat from that left back zone in the final third. So whether that be his incisive passes to get his teammates into advanced areas or create goal scoring opportunities for them, or simply making off-ball runs, whether it be overlapping or underlapping into advanced areas to ensure that there's consistent pressure from that left-hand side on the opposing side's backline. In this example, you have Zinchenko, Bernardo Silva, and Grealish swapping positions. When Bernardo Silva receives the ball on the left touchline, focus on Zinchenko's positioning in a pocket of space between the central midfielders. When it looks like Bernardo is going to play the ball into the path of Gabriel Jesus, that's when you see Zinchenko making a midfield run that's unmarked in towards the penalty area as Gabriel Jesus drags two defenders with him, and Bernardo Silva clips the ball into the path of the underlapping run from the left back, and he's capable of chesting the ball down, but Declan Rice does a very good job of tracking that movement and making a last-ditch tackle to force Zinchenko into a tame effort on goal. The one weakness that you can highlight with Zinchenko is that he's not a natural defender. So when he is placed in 1v1, he does struggle to get the better of those 1v1s when he's up against fast, pacey, tricky wingers. And while that can be understandable due to the fact that he's not a natural defender, here you see Zinchenko in a 1v2, but with three teammates looking to provide help pressure behind him. Now with Phil Foden dropping back in towards a penalty area, it's a 1v1 against Chiquinho, but he gambles by stepping in towards a fake drag back in towards the half space. And look at his positioning now. He's flat-footed and it allows the wingback to break in towards that zone, and the help pressure forces a tame effort towards goal. However, in that same game, here you can see once again Phil Foden looking to track back as it's the wingback against Zinchenko. And in this position, once again, it's 1v3 for Zinchenko's favor. Once again, he drags drags his back foot and gets flat-footed, and Chiquinho's able to poke the ball around him in towards the right channel, and you can see that he now uses his pace to get the better of Zinchenko, and what Zinchenko does here is that he ends up resulting in pulling back the wing back to concede a free kick in a dangerous area. The other issue that he does possess is his ability to switch off when he is marking players, because teams do look to target him with off-ball runs and runs off the back post, and when he switches off and has those defensive lapses, the opposing side's attacking players often get themselves into legitimate goal-scoring positions, and they harm his backline. In the build-up to a Jared Bowen goal, focus on Man City's high line and Zinchenko not tracking Bowen's movement. When that long ball is played, you can see that Antonio does win it, and Zinchenko's not even aware of Bowen's positioning. The ball falls back in towards a midfielder, and from there, now Zinchenko has to recover because Bowen's acres of yards ahead of him. That long ball gets played over the center backs, and Bowen now is free in on goal as Zinchenko doesn't track his movement, and the center backs were caught higher up the pitch. As that play develops, you could see where Bowen receives the ball, and then you could see where he's able to round Ederson with Zinchenko not in the play, and that results in a free tap in from this position. And in that same game, you could see that West Ham are able to win an aerial duel over Bernardo Silva and focus on Bowen's positioning across Zinchenko. The ball falls into the path of Antonio. You could see Zinchenko's flat-footed and not keeping the high line, and then when he looks to step, it allows Bowen to make a run between Zinchenko and the center backs. Antonio's capable of clipping the ball over Bowen, and once again Bowen's running across Zinchenko. Zinchenko's nowhere within close proximity, and that results in Bowen getting in this position where he's able to beat the keeper once again. So along with being a competent ball carrier in those deeper zones, when he is in the final third, if he's placed in 1v1 situations, he's also capable of taking on the opposing side's defender or midfielder, dribbling beyond them and placing his teammates in legitimate goal-scoring positions. So as you can see, Zinchenko's arrival makes sense from a fit perspective as the Ukrainian international provides versatility at left back and a left shuttler role without disrupting the balance and growth of Mikel Arteta's squad. And the sole issue Arsenal fans may have with his current state as a player would be his defensive limitations.